Excellent. So I'm so thrilled to be with you. How to manifest anything. That's the title of our little pop up impromptu last minute. Here we are, chit chat this evening, because it's not just about manifesting a house, in my case. It's about manifesting, frankly, whatever you want. And we're going to go through the 5 things that I did and that I believe that work in terms of manifesting and attracting what you want. But in my case, of course, it's about my lovely house. Woo-hoo! That I'm so happy for. I did explain I've got this light bulb that you can see. Obviously, I'm waiting for a little chandelier. Hasn't quite arrived yet. Maybe tomorrow. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. The first thing you've got to do, number one, is you've got to allow for the possibility. Got to allow for the possibility of that which you want coming to you. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am more open to receiving property and a house and homes than I am to other things. I have far more resistance. I'll openly admit it. I don't want to create more of the same. So I'm going to say I notice I have had far more resistance to attracting a romantic relationship than a house. But here's the thing, even having said that, it wasn't until someone said to me about 6 months ago, you should really think about getting your own place. In fact, it was the man that I was renting my house from, lovely man, beautiful big old forge. I was renting from him, and he decided to sell. But he said, Fiona, you've got to get your own place. This is ridiculous. Why the heck you spent all this money on rent? And it took him, David, to say, you could do it, you could do it. And it wasn't until he said that to me repeatedly. Okay, he was probably trying to get rid of me at the same time. I'm joking. That was 6 months ago. No, but he repeatedly said, you've got to do this. Now, that's a man who's made a lot of money from developing property, buying and selling, doing up, all that stuff. And he said, listen, you're my friend. Do not go and rent somewhere else. Take your time. Stay here as long as you need to. Obviously, I want to sell the place. So, don't take forever. But it just planted the seed. It planted the seed. And here's what I realized. I realized that until that moment, my mind was completely closed, had become completely closed to the possibility of getting my own place. And I began to allow that seed to grow, So if you don't allow for the possibility of that thing happening, whatever it is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a lump sum of money, whether it's that business that you want or the bigger business that you want, or whatever it is, if that possibility isn't there for you as a possibility, can you see it's not going to happen? Because your mind is not going to start working in that direction. So that's the first thing I did. Then the second thing I did was I handed it over. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I handed it over to the divine. I say the divine. You might say spirit or source. You might even say God. But whatever that word, concept, or phrase is that you have for a higher power, I would encourage you to get connected, more strongly connected to that higher power. And here's why. It'll make life easier in my experience. And here's the other thing. You let go of the anxiety. Because here's the thing that we often do. We get excited if we allow ourselves to get excited about that thing, that desire, that dream, that goal, that vision. And then if we're not careful, we get all anxious and worked up about it. And we go, oh my God, how am I going to do that? I don't know. Oh my God. And we get overwhelmed. We get exhausted. The whole thing just becomes a burden. Make sense? So I did that. And I noticed I was doing it. And I thought, wait a minute. I need to partner. I need to get on board. I need to get that higher power on board. So here's what I did. I wrote a note, and I really encourage you to do the same. I wrote a note and I said, listen, if this is for my work in the world, if this is to help me of greater service to others so that I can be of the highest service to others, that I'm here to be in this world, then so be it. So be it. And you see, in that way, you let go of you having to do it all, running the show, your ego in charge. Is this making sense, guys? Give me a hands up, wave, a thumbs up. So this is what to do, because otherwise you could drive yourself mad. You could easily, because I was on the verge of it. I was on the verge of it because I'd opened up my mind to the possibility. I'm talking to mortgage people, I'm looking at finances, all of that good stuff. Money, unexpected money started to come in. Clients from like way back, like premium private clients, came out of nowhere and said, my God, I've been thinking about you. Oh, I need to do, yeah, listen, just do me the invoice. 12 is great. 12 plus VAT is great. 15. All of a sudden, this money was coming in like that. So things were starting to move, but I couldn't decide on an exact area. And I was driving myself mad. Weekend after weekend, I'm driving around and I'm trying to figure it out myself. And then I realized I'm trying to figure all this out myself. I don't need to do this way. So I encourage you to partner, to invoke, to make it not about you, to make it not about your ego. I want to live in a flash house and impress everyone. Make it about your role in the world, your place in the world. And if you are to be of the greatest service, then so be it. For my good and the good of all. You see? Beautiful way to do it. So here's what happened when I remembered to do that. And the thing is, you have to remember to do it, because when you're running around like a crazy person, all stressed and worked up, you forget to do it. Well, thank God I remembered to do it. And here's what happened. Within 24 hours, this was the area that had, if you like, shown itself to me. And I had the house within 3 days. I have a spiritual guide that I spoke to about it as well. And she said, listen, you've got to tell people about it. You've got to tell people what you want. Don't rely on estate agents. Don't keep it to yourself. So I started to do that. And I had this area in mind, but I had a house down the road that I actually paid a deposit on. It was a nice enough house, frankly, nothing like this one. But anyways, I was chatting with my trainer in the gym, as you do. And I said, hey, I think I've got the house. It's just outside Wells, and it's lovely, and it's this. And he said, wait a minute. He said, you know, Glenn has these amazing houses in Wells. Glenn is a local builder. You know, he's a bit of a legend around here. Drives a Lamborghini, all that stuff. And he said, you've got to go and see Glenn's houses. I said, Phil, I've seen the price of Glenn's houses. He said, look, I don't care. You need to go see those houses. They're insane. The showers, underfloor heating, you have to go. So he practically pushed me here to have a look at this house. Obviously, I got very excited about the house, but you know, it was 35,000 more than my budget. 35,000. That's a lot of money. So I was just incredibly honest. And at the same time, I still didn't drive myself crazy. You know the way you can do that? You see something, you want it, you drive yourself crazy? No, I didn't do it. I remembered to hand it over and say, listen, if this is the place where I can be the most effective, then so be it. So be it. So be it. And I was completely honest. And I said, Glenn, I love it. Clearly, I love it. I mean, who wouldn't, for God's sakes? But I'm 35 short. And he said, well, listen, let me talk to the wife. She makes all the decisions. And over the weekend, I was juggling around, talking to my mortgage guy, seeing how much more money we could get, all that good stuff. And over the weekend, I got a text from him saying, listen, it's yours. It's yours at the price you can pay for it. We want you to have it. You love it. So serendipity, the time when serendipity in my experience, will start to really kick in for you, really start to kick in for you, is when you stop trying to make it all happen on your own, with your own human steam. Guys, we are spiritual beings. We're here for a very short time. We are spiritual beings. So you want to connect with your spirit, you want to connect with your higher self, and you really want to connect with higher power, and you want to hand it over. You want to ask for help. That does not mean you don't take responsibility. That does not mean that. It means that you listen for the inspiration, you pay attention, but you also ask for that extra help. Remembering, of course, to enshrine what you're asking for, that it's for your good and the good of all. So the first thing is possible. You've got to believe that it's possible. Second thing is pray. I'm just putting them in P's, so it's easy for you to remember. Here's the third thing. You've got to get ready to receive. Prepare. Our third P. Prepare, 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 prepare. That's like what Deborah was saying a few minutes ago. Everything is energy. So you have to raise your frequency, if you like, your energy, to start to match that which you desire, which means that the moment you make that decision, get going, get ready. The minute I made the decision, I went crazy. I started to clear up my wardrobe like I was ready to move. That's why my move has been so easy. I've got nothing left. I've given everything away. I'm joking slightly, but not really. But that was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, when I decided this was going to be, I was going to go for it. I just went through my wardrobe. I went through everything I had, cleared things out, let things go, gave things away. So I was light. I was lightening up, getting ready to move, so the move would be easy. And it's been the easiest move of my life because I didn't have any furniture. Everything, arrived from shops and places. So prepare, act as if the thing you want is on its way, is on its way. Is this making sense, guys? Yeah. And then the next thing you've got to do is you got to persist. Keep an open mind, and you got to persist. If it's to be, it will be, if it's there for you. Because the first mortgage I thought I had, suddenly they changed their mind. I don't know why they changed their mind, but they changed their mind. They don't have to give a reason. So that was a little bit of a setback. Again, these things are going to happen, and you have to reset your focus. You have to reset your intention. You got to go through all that process. You got to connect to spirit again, ask for that help, reinforce your intention that it's for your good and the good of all. So I genuinely didn't have too much of a worry, because I thought to myself, by that stage, I was pretty clear it was going to happen. I just felt it. I felt it. So within 24 hours of approaching another bank, another lender, they came back straight away and said, yeah, absolutely. So don't be put off if you have to adjust. If you have to adjust, I'm just going to do a little mute all thing there so it's easier for us. Don't necessarily take it as a sign, as a bad sign. You might just need to, it might be nothing more than you just adjusting, and maybe the next option is better for you. Okay, so the first option in terms of a house that I got, there's no comparison whatsoever to the one that I'm in right now. And then the fifth thing that you've got to do, you got to get into action. You got to plan. You got to plan. So this is a big, in my opinion, mistake that I see people making. And I see people who are very spiritual, who are very avowedly spiritual, and who are very intent on manifesting, like they're big time manifestors. But I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of those times I see people create quite limited results, and I see them struggle in their life. I see them struggle a lot in their life. And here's what I think we're physical beings. We're here to work. We're here to work. We're here to do the work. We're here to make things happen. So I think that's a misreading, in my opinion, in my experience. I think that's a misreading of the law of attraction. I think the idea that you simply chant like crazy, affirm like mad, write things out nonstop, and then sit on the sofa and just wait for it to drop out of the sky, I think it's madness. Now, look, maybe if you're Sai Baba and you live at the foot of the Himalayas, but that's not us. Our experience, we are incarnated into a time and a place where we do things to make things happen. So I think that you got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to get into action immediately. You're probably going to take action that's outside of your comfort zone. Now, in my experience, taking action out of your comfort zone can often be the thing that stops you. So make sure that you are in, you could consider a mastermind, some sort of a small mastermind. I would be very careful about who you share this stuff with, because, you know, confidence is a fragile thing, especially if you're going for something that's a lot bigger than what you have right now. You want to be very careful who you share that with, because people can be very, people can consider themselves to be very practical. And that can simply mean that they are going to walk all over your dreams with their size 14s. Now, they don't mean to be cruel. They could be family members. I have family members I didn't share this with for that very reason, because I know that they're practical people. And they're going to say things like, I think you've left it too late. Where are you going to get that from? How's that going to happen? Now, do you need that when you're creating something? No, you definitely don't. So here's the thing. When you're creating something, and this is very much a subtle secret of the law of attraction, you're creating it. It's like what Esther Hicks says, your point of attraction is there. And that could be quite different from your current reality. If you simply plan from your current reality, then what you're setting yourself up for is more of the same. Can you see that? Let me give you an example. This is what I mean about property. You know, I've had good experience with manifesting property. So many years ago, when I first thought to myself, actually, again, it was somebody who said it to me. I was having a manicure. Back in the days when you had manicures, you know, I was having a manicure. I don't know how long ago it was, 20 years ago, probably 20 years ago. And there was this real go-getter girl. She was amazing, actually. She was amazing. She worked for the BBC as a producer. Listen to this. But she was such a worker bee. She did manicures, evenings and weekends. Can you believe that? Good manicures. So anyway, we're having this conversation. She said, Fiona, how much do you pay for this place? It was Hampstead. And it was a lot of money at the time, because I always like to live in nice places. That's why I never had any money to put down as a deposit. You know what I mean? So I told her, she was like, oh my God, you have to stop. You must get a mortgage. I said, yeah, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I haven't got 60 grand to put down as a deposit in that area of London. You needed, you know, a 2-bedroom flat was 300,000. You needed 60,000 as a deposit. Make sense? So I said, oh my God, I just can't see that. She said, listen, you've got to start. You cannot carry on like this. I said, all right, Kim. Yeah, she said, right, listen, here's the number of my mortgage guy. Please promise me that you're going to call him tomorrow. I'm going to call him. Tell him you're going to call. I said, okay, I will. So again, can you see what happened? The seed was planted. The possibility started to come alive. So here's what happened, guys. And this is why it's so important that you do all of this. So here's what happened. I simply started to entertain the possibility. Then what I did was I started to do everything and anything that I could. So I used to go on a Friday morning to my local cafe in Swains Lane, Hampstead, Highgate, and I used to get the ham and high. I love property. I love looking at property. So I get the ham and high, Hampstead and Highgate Express, right? And in the back, there's the property section. I would go through the property section, but here's what I would do. I noticed, I would always look at the rental section, the to let, in case there was some fabulous place that I should be living in instead of where I was. Make sense? And I thought to myself, now, wait a minute, that's going to stop. You have got to take your attention and you've got to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Can you see that? Now think about it. I did not have 60 grand sitting to go and buy somewhere at that point, right? I just simply started to pay attention only to places to buy. Even though it was painful, I stopped myself looking at the rental section, okay? So I just got busy doing other things. I just got super, super busy doing other things. Be Your Own Life Coach had come out and I was doing a lot of publicity. And I want you to know that if I'd had a conversation with my older brother, who's a darling, don't get me wrong, but a very practical person, he's a businessman. They plan things in a very practical, grounded way. But what they do is they plan things from where they're at to get to somewhere else, from where they're at. Are you hearing this? Okay, so if I'd gone to my brother and said, listen, darn it all, I've got to get 60 grand from somewhere so I can go and buy a place. Jamie's going to this school, it'd be really good to live nearby, all of that stuff. He would have said, okay, well, you need to tighten your belt, lady, because you live like there's no tomorrow. I mean, for starters, you need to stop eating out all the time. And then you need to reduce your outgoings. I mean, you're living like beyond your means. So cut down your expenses, live somewhere smaller, maybe consider moving to a cheaper area, all of that stuff, which is perfectly reasonable. I didn't want to do any of that stuff, so I didn't have the conversation with him. Now, all I did was this. All I did was just get busy with all the other stuff that I was doing. But I did really hold out. I just really connected to that desire, And I handed it over to some extent. I wasn't as connected to that spiritual approach as I am now. But I didn't have a detailed plan. I didn't have that detailed plan. So here's what happened. I got this call one day from these people who wanted me to write a course. And I said, God, I'm so busy. Honestly, I'd love to, but I don't think I'm the right person. And they said, yeah, we know you're the right person. There's no question, because your book is out there. Everybody's talking about it. Thank God that was a bestseller. And they said, we're clear that if we attach your name to this course, it's going to sell. And they said, look, just get some help. Get somebody to help you with it. You don't have to write every single word of it. We just need your name attached. We really do. So they were lovely people, and they came to London to meet me. And honestly, I just thought, well, I can't say no. You've come all this way, for God's sakes. So I said yes. I did get some help to do it. It wasn't a torturous process at all, at all. And then about maybe 2 months later, I got a call from my assistant, Ray. He said, are you sitting down? I said, no. Should I be? He said, I think so. He said, you wrote that course for those people. I said, oh, yeah, God, yeah. Because here's the thing. They said, listen, we don't have any big bucks to pay you in the first instance. So, if you want to work with us on this, then we'll make you a generous deal. I said, yes, sure. I mean, they were just nice people, really. I said, yeah, sure. What are you thinking of? And they said, well, look, we'll give you a generous share of every program that's sold. We just haven't got any money to pay you up front. I know that's a bit cheeky to ask you, to take that risk on us and to do all that work, but we've got a pretty big mailing list. We're pretty sure, all of that stuff. So I didn't get any money whatsoever up front. I just cracked on with it. And he said, well, I just called and said, we have to put an invoice in. I said, well, that's good. Then do that. Yeah. And he said, don't you want to know? I said, how much? How much? Then tell me. And he said, well, it's 45,000. Just like that. I said, okay. And he said, there's more. So he said, I've got to put that in today. They'll pay it straight away. And then on Monday, a couple of days later, I've got to put a second invoice in. I've got the purchase order already for 15. I had to sit down. I didn't even wait to get the money, ladies and gents. I just went straight out. Straight out the door. And got my flat. I did. 71A Lycia Street in Fulham. So I'm sharing this with you because it's probably a little bit different, maybe a bit weird to what you might be used to doing. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being honest with you. And I'm reinforcing what I really believe wholeheartedly. Even if you don't know exactly how, don't let that stop you, okay, from allowing yourself to entertain the possibility. And then the important thing is, number 2, pray. Do not try and do this on your own, is my advice and my experience. Also, don't drive yourself crazy. Don't drive yourself crazy. Your ego will drive yourself crazy. That's how I lost my London home, was I allowed my ego to run the show. So I had this, and it's all good. I mean, it's all good. I couldn't stand here and wholeheartedly talk about this if I hadn't gone through all the experience I'd gone through. So I had this fabulous place in London, and I had a lot of equity in it. I had a friend who was a mortgage advisor, and she said to me, my God, you've got so much equity in that property. I said, do you think so? And she said, I know so. And I said, well, that's great. She said, you know what? I could get you a mortgage so you could have a mortgage holiday. I was like, oh my God, that sounds wonderful. I could do with a holiday. If anybody knows me, they would know that was not a good idea. Anyways, I said, that's terrific. You know what I could do with a break? I am thinking anyway, I'm going to be a novelist. I think I'm going to leave my business. I mean, there's nothing like success, ladies and gents, to breed complacency. So that's what I did. I took a 3-year break to be a novelist. I had this idea, that I would be, all over the papers. I'd get a 6-figure 3-book deal. That's your ego running the show. It's not in me to be Martina Cole. That's Martina Cole's job in this lifetime. It's not mine. My ego was chasing fame and fortune. I could make you very broke indeed. And that's how I know. You see, that's why I'm so clear on aligning that goal, that vision, that dream to something higher than just, impressing someone, being famous, being in the newspapers, all of that good stuff. That's ego. Ego is chasing fame and fortune to impress others, to compete with others, all of that stuff. So be careful. Be careful with your motivation. And when you want to align to a higher power, you have to raise your vibration. And how you do that is you align to a higher intent. Your higher intent is service to all, service to others. How can I serve? How can this goal help me serve more at a higher level, better? Making sense? So do that. And in my experience, things will happen easier and quicker because overnight, when I remembered to connect and ask for help, overnight. All the tension and stress that I had been experiencing for the previous 3 weekends, because I was like a crazy person on a mission. Every weekend, I was driving around Somerset looking for areas and houses. I'm just thinking, oh my God, this is all awful. I don't feel drawn to anywhere, and these are all awful, and the whole thing. It was just torture. And within 24 hours, I was here. I was in this area. Wales was not on my list. Not on my list. I was looking at Bruton because the Sunday Times said Bruton was the coolest place to live. Now, I'm in Somerset anyway, so it's not like a million miles away, but I'm thinking Bruton's cool. I should go to Bruton. That's cool. Or Frome, one of the coolest places to live. You see, Wales was not on my list at all. So what else did I want to say? So the two distinctions I want to offer you in terms of manifesting are connect your will to the higher will, to the bigger will. Don't do this all with your personal willpower. Align to a higher power. Cannot stress that enough. Please don't take my word for it. Do it yourselves. Okay? And the way you do that is you set your intention to be that of service, and you let go. You let go of driving yourself crazy. I've got to have that. Oh, I've got to have that, or I'll never be happy. Oh, I'll never feel complete. Oh, I always feel a loser, or whatever. Any of that nonsense. You got to let go of all of that, and you've got to say, if this, if this is to be, if this is going to help me be of the most service, the highest service in this lifetime, then so be it. And it's tough, I know, because you might want something so badly, but in my experience, you got to hand it over. So that's a distinction, because you see a lot of people with something like the law of attraction, they'll get disappointed because they'll go, well, I asked for a Lamborghini. Hello, where's my Lamborghini? That law of attraction nonsense, it's nonsense. It doesn't work. Where's this? Where's that? Where's the man? Where's the woman? All of that stuff. So I'm offering you that as a distinction. And then the other distinction I'm offering you is that you have to take action. I believe it's your job to take action. You have to take 100%, if you like, responsibility. If it's to be, it's down to me. If it's to be, it's down to me. So listen, life is all about growth. It's all about growth. This is not supposed to be, Disney World. Not all the time anyway. It's a finishing school. It's a finishing school. We get to perfect ourselves. We get to evolve to a higher level. We get to polish ourselves so that we, come in the rough diamonds that we are, and we leave the polished, gleaming emerald, you see? So you can't get growth unless there's a degree of tension. You've got to go to the gym. You can't be lifting 2s. You got to lift the 4 or maybe the 6, because that's where your growth is. It might be tough, it might be uncomfortable, but it's like that's where your growth is. Put the 2 down, lift the 6. So we have to do work. We're here to do the work. We're here to do the work. So I honestly, I know some people, and their interpretation of manifesting is to do very little. Honest to God, it's to do very little. Now, I swear to God, some people may be lazy. I don't know. I'm just saying. You cannot be lazy. I don't think laziness is a good thing. So you got to check yourself out for that. But I really don't see anyone who is sitting on a sofa and who's making the money that they want and getting the results in life that they want. I don't see that. I don't see it. I think that is I just think it's a flawed interpretation of manifesting and the law of attraction. Effort. We need to put effort in, not struggle. And if there's a great deal of struggle, then I think we've got to check in with what we're doing and run through this checklist. Run through this checklist. So listen, I really want to hear if this is making sense to you. This is making sense to you, and make sure that you've got something that you are going to apply this to. And before I forget, I put something in the chat, in our chat here. I'm doing a workshop on Saturday morning that you are all invited to. It's 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, same place. I'm going to do a little bit more teaching in there, but I'm going to do more on this, but I'm also going to do some specific teaching for those of you who are in business. How many of you are in business, or you want to set up a business? Put your hand up so I can see. Excellent. Okay, so y'all need to have something that I call a client magnet, something that draws people to you. So you're not having to force yourself on people and be all salesy and weird. So I'm a great believer in having that, a great free gift. Some people call it a lead magnet. Anyway, I'm going to do teaching on that on Saturday. It'll be wonderful, 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. The link is in the chat box. What I would love to do is hear from you. Come through, unmute yourself, ask me any questions. What have you heard? What have you heard? And I'm seeing so many black screens. If you really are putting kids to bed and all that stuff, that's understandable. But otherwise, yeah, come through. Give me a question. Lovely to see you all there. Lovely to see you, Amanda, and everyone, Maria, Allison. Tell me what you're taking from this. What have you heard that's landed for you? What have you heard that's possibly a bit different from what you have been doing, or maybe the way you have interpreted the law of attraction? And by the way, I'm so happy to do a little meditation to just lift you, to be more connected to the energy of that which you desire. If you're up for that, can I get a wave, a yes, if you're up for that? Good, excellent, good. Oh, so give me a little bit of feedback before we do that. Tell me what you've heard. Just unmute yourself. Any questions? Oh, Wales is lovely. It is. Wales is actually the smallest city in the UK. And I believe that Brett Anderson from Suede lives here. I haven't seen him myself, but it's so funny. A friend of mine is obsessed with Brett Anderson. Can you believe that? I'm sure he's a lovely young man. But anyway, she actually came here. Here's the law of attraction. She came to stay with me. I wasn't even living here at the time, obviously, like months ago. And she said, oh my God, you've got to go to this place called Wales. I said, yeah, it's down the road. You know, she said, you've got to go. It's amazing, but you're not going to believe this. Oh my God, guess who I saw? I said, who? Brett Anderson from Suede. Honestly, there's the law of attraction for you. She said he was literally on the same street. She actually followed him slightly. That's worrying. But anyways, yeah. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah. Thing you're taking away is the need to work. Yes. Work. I mean, look, I'm a bit of a workaholic, I admit that, but I love what I do. And it's important to love what you do. Do what you do with love. Then it doesn't drain you. I could do this till 11 o'clock tonight, and that's the God's truth, and I wouldn't be tired. When you're aligned with the work that you do, there's no struggle. I have to stop myself because I'll probably end up being a very boring person, and I shall never attract a boyfriend if I don't start working some of the time. So I'm going to take 2 comments. Yeah, come through, and then we're going to do our meditation. I'm reading all your comments. That's great. But come through. I want 2 comments, live comments. Unmute yourself. Yeah. Come on, don't be so shy, for goodness sakes.
Hello.
And then, hello, who's that?
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Shazia.
Hello, Shazia. How are you? You were the first here. You were
Do
the
you know what?
first here. So,
I'm always punctual, and I've read your books for years, and I've always realized when I read your books, they've been really positive, but with practical advice. So, for example, when you mentioned um, a success story, like, instead of you being vague, you've given examples of so and so did this, and then you think, well, they've done it, and then I can do it as well. So I think that's what makes your books different. I think because you use real life examples of maybe celebrities instead of just it being abstract. I think.
yeah,
I,
absolutely. Yeah.
what I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, Fiona, it's just come to me now. How would you know? I mean, I think I have an idea of what my passion is and how I can help the world, what my service is. And I've kind of knew that as well about working to a higher purpose. For example, when I wanted to go into teaching, for example, way was to teach English for speakers of other languages. And it came to me sort of later in life. I never planned it. I think it just kind of everything aligned. But then I had a lot of obstacles. And then I thought, I'm going to give this up, and I've had obstacles. But then I actually thought to myself, you've got to, it's not up to you. You can make a difference to people's lives. And I have done. When you're teaching, you're not just teaching, you're being a confidant and sort of like a counselor, and you can sort of change their lives. But I just want to ask you, how do you know what your deep down passion is, and how that will be a service to the world? How do you know your passion is real and not something that, I don't know, maybe that you're not so good at? What is the clue?
Well, here's the thing, your passion is to empower people.
Right,
It's
brilliant.
obvious. That's what you're about. That's what you're about. You're about empowering people and uplifting people and having people believe in themselves. So the truth is that every time you get out of bed in the morning, you're
Mhm.
fulfilling your purpose. Every time you go outside your front door, you're fulfilling your purpose because it's just who you are. It's who you are. You
Yeah,
cannot be. eh, You can't not be that person because it's in you. It's just in you, and it's coming out all the time. And it
yeah,
doesn't matter whether it's in your paid work
yeah.
or it's just you're doing it 24/7. Martin Luther King did not switch off on the Sunday. He didn't go, "Do you know what? I'm going to leave that dream aside because it's Sunday."
Yeah, got you now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of knew, but I just sometimes you have this inner critic in your voice, in your head. And
Yeah.
what happened was when I finally did, because in my younger life, as I said, I've done some other things and they've not worked out. And now I realize I wasn't meant to do those things. I was trying to please my family. So, for example, my family wanted me to be a lawyer initially, so I did the law degree, but I didn't want to pursue it as a career. And then I did some other things. So I had a lot of different jobs, and I think I was just finding my way. And then finally, when I decided on my passion, I did go through a lot of obstacles. And then when I did, after that, I thought there's nothing that can stop me from doing this kind of line of work. Because what happened was, as soon as I started this course, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. Like literally
Mhm.
4 weeks starting this course, which my mother was really dead against it for some reason, and she never was. She goes, "Oh, you're just doing another thing, and you're not going to pursue it, and whatever." And then when he was diagnosed with cancer, it was like a now or never moment. If I never do this course, now I will never do it. So when I did do the course, and I passed it, and it was a good focus away from my husband receiving chemotherapy. I passed the course, and luckily he recovered. He got bone marrow, and he's been 4 years cancer free as well. So
Fantastic.
that's just one thing that when I got the job through a huge amount of struggle, I appreciated it, and I think it's what you want. It's the desire. So if you have that inner desire, whereas with the other jobs I had, I don't think I had that inner desire. I was kind of trying to please my parents as well, and society, and all the rest of it. So when I finally did get that, I think you have to go a bit deep down, but once you've got it, you can't let anything stop you, whatever it is, whatever your purpose is.
Well, here's the thing, you see, success leaves clues. So the clues to, what our message is, what the impact is that we can make in the world, it's usually in our mess. It's usually in what we have struggled with. So
Right.
Shazi, what I'm hearing that you've struggled with is knowing what you really wanted to do
Hmm.
and following through on that. You had obstacles, you had family, you had pressure, maybe you had cultural pressure. So you know about this at a very deep level. That's why you embody. Well, what do you embody for others?
Um,
Encouragement to
yeah,
choose to be true to themselves. Encouragement to be true to themselves. Because you know what it's like when one isn't true to oneself, when one tries to please other people.
yeah,
And you know what it's like to follow the right path for you. Make sense?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But that's come
Me
through
too.
a lot of heartache as well. But it's worth it, I think, at the
Of
end.
course.
Mm.
Darling, I'm standing here explaining all this to you, and I lost a house in London. That's probably worth 1 million now. So I could get, annoyed about that, but I'm not going to. So it's all good. It's all good. All our experiences.
Yeah,
It's all good for us to learn, evolve, put it to good use. Absolutely. And look, people, even in this day and age, where we're flooded with self-improvement books and motivational gurus and Lord knows what, people still need to hear this encouragement from another person. People still need to have someone say, it's possible. It's possible. Someone said that to me 6 months ago. It's possible. Really, Fiona, you got to look at it. It's possible. And that was the seed that got me to here. All right, you darlings. So listen, just meet yourself again, Shazzy. And shall I just do this short meditation? Okay, get yourselves comfortable. Um, that link for Saturday is in our chat box. It's right at the top there. Okay, so beautiful. Take a beautiful breath in. Close your eyes if you'd like to. Beautiful breath in. And a beautiful breath out. Beautiful breath in, beautiful breath out. Letting go of everything that's been going on for you today and everything right up until right now. Letting your shoulders soften and ease. Beautiful. If you'd like to, sending out that signal from you to your higher self, from your mind to your higher self. An invitation, if you like, to draw closer, to draw closer. Of course, you're always connected to your higher self. You can't not be. This is your spirit. This is you, the eternal you that goes on beyond this short human experience. Connecting even stronger, drawing closer. Beautiful. So you've got access to those higher realms of guidance, inspiration, and power. Beautiful. Feel like gathering around you. Now I invite you to think of a specific goal that you would like. And I would like you to think about what that would look like in action, in practice. What would you be doing that would demonstrate the achievement of that? What would you be doing that would show you in action having achieved that? See yourself doing that. It's you. It's just a little bit further along from where you are now, but it is you. Feel how that feels. What is the energy? How does it feel? How does it feel to be there, doing it, having it already accomplished? Breathe in that energy. And as you breathe out, let it flow through you right now. Let it flow through you right now. So you're breathing in that energy, taking on board that energy of accomplishment, of achievement, of joy, of excitement, whatever that feeling is for you. Breathe it in right now. And let it flood through you right now. So you're flooding yourself with the energy of that desire, feeling and letting yourself feel as though you have already achieved it. It's here. And the truth is, it is here. And the distance between you and it very often is just of our own making. The distance that we think it should take, or the distance we'd be comfortable with it taking. So I know that if this is right for you, for your highest good, and for your growth, then it's yours. Then it's yours. So let yourself feel that feeling. Let yourself feel that feeling. And give yourself permission to feel that feeling frequently so that you are a vibrational match to that which you desire. Okay? And that will speed up the process. That will speed up the process. Okay? When you're ready, just come back. Open your eyes or just feel your body on the chair. Feel your body. Excellent. Sorry, Abigail, you're saying you can't see the link. I'll put it, it's right at the top. I'll put it here again. And it should be at the bottom, I think now. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, guys, I had a huge response to this. Sorry, I'm just going to do this. Can't do two things at once. So in fact, I'm going to do this again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Did you get that? Because a lot of people got in touch and said, oh my God, I can't do that. Don't do this. So look, use the same link. If you want to do this again tomorrow, then I'm going to do exactly the same thing tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Keep that link. This link in the chat box is for Saturday. Saturday will be fabulous because we have longer, and I'm going to teach on how you can begin to create that client magnet and draw people to you. All right, my darlings, listen, thank you so much for being here. It's been my absolute pleasure. I'm going to go and sit outside now and have a glass of wine on my deck chair. My son will come back in a second. Let my cat out for a little while so he gets used to the area. All right, my darlings, let me just stop the recording. Perfect.